Dallas Cowboys presentation of Countdown to Kickoff, presented by AT&T, is sponsored by Bank of America, official bank of the Dallas Cowboys, Reliant, and NRG Company, Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and by AT&T, the official partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Go Cowboys!
The final preseason game before the 2023 season officially kicks off as the Dallas Cowboys get set to take on the Las Vegas Raiders back here at home at AT&T Stadium. This is Countdown to Kickoff as we get you ready for that final preseason game down here on the field. I'm Haley Sutton alongside Mickey Spagnola, and as always when we start the show, we kick it off with head coach Mike McCarthy. Coach, obviously a lot of news swirling around within the signing of Trey Lance, but before we get there, I want to talk about today's game because obviously a lot of important decisions will have to be made. What are your expectations going into this final game?
Well, it's a big night for our young players. I mean, I've always looked forward to this game because there's always not only plays, but a group of players that'll make a big step tonight, not only just on offense and defense, but special teams. Because, just like anything, so much is made about our 53-man roster, but it's really the 68. And, your practice squad, if you look at our history, the majority to all of our players come off of our 90-man roster. I think it shows to the process that we do in personnel. It's outstanding. I personally would prefer that because they're our guys, and so tonight will be a big part of answering those questions.
So you mentioned young players. I don't know if people understand just because Trey Lance is in his third year, he's still a pretty young player. He's only 23 years old. So your thoughts about trading for him last night and maybe where you go once he gets here?
Well, he gets here Sunday, tomorrow, but, really focusing on this opportunity for Will. But, yeah, I just think like anything else, I mean, this was an opportunity that presented itself, and you have to trust your process of the draft process. He's a relatively young player, and, we had very high grades on him. So this was an opportunity that was presented itself, and then we made that decision. So he'll be a great addition to our room. It's a room we feel really good about right now. So this is the tough part of the business personally, because I do think the world of Will and just watching him grow, over the course of his time here. So I really want him to, just jump out of his shoes tonight and have a big night. And
it's a big night for him, obviously. How do you bring along a guy that just gets here after training camp, and how do you deal with that?
Well, the biggest thing it should always is it's the language. Then there'll probably be some footwork, things that are different. I mean, San Francisco is a West Coast offense-based system, so that I would anticipate there'll be some carryover. And then footwork, scheme, all those things. You just kind of work through it. But the biggest change will be the language.
And he's a guy, and I didn't realize it, Mike, until I started looking at it. He hadn't played much football since that great year in 2019 at North Dakota State.
Yeah, definitely. And I think just like, all these athletes that come into our league in 19, 20, 21, I mean, this pandemic is, it kind of, it makes you look at your evaluation curve a little differently because, you always felt by the third year in the player, you pretty much knew where he was as far as how he fit into your system and into your future plans. But this pandemic and now the state of the college football, I mean it's different now. So, but I know I've gone off on a tangent here, but I just look at him as a young talented quarterback that has so much in front of him. So, and I'm excited to work with him.
I know you're quarterback one, Dak Prescott, hasn't seen any action yet, but he's still been very active on the sidelines. And tonight, you passed the playbook over to him. He's going to call the plays tonight. What went into that decision, and how excited is he to get to take on that role?
Well, this is really an opportunity. Over the years, you've always given to a younger coach, but in this particular case, I just thought it would be a great opportunity for Dak. He jumped all over the offer, so that, I think that excited me, frankly. And this is to keep him in the game. But it's just like anything. it's trips to the plate. You need reps, and the mental reps and the emotional stability of calling the game. This will be a great experience for him. It'll be a great experience. He's been doing it in practice and certain segments more in post-practice, so we've been prepared. Whether he knew it or not, I was preparing him for this opportunity. So, because he's probably done it about 8 or 9 times now.
So one of the things he's been saying about you is how quickly the plays get in. Are you going to put a stopwatch on him to see how quickly he gets them in?
Well, he can slow down tonight. It's the preseason, but no. And I just think with our younger players, I just want to make sure everything's clean, let our guys play. And I would think the Raiders would want the same thing. I just want to see our young guys go out and get after it, play the right way, and and this will be a great experience for Dak.
And stay healthy, right?
Well, that's number one. That is number one. You want to come out of this game as healthy as you possibly can.
All right, so the play calling we get to take away from you. If there's anything that goes wrong, we go to Dak Prescott.
Yeah. Make sure he gets all the criticism.
Mike, thanks so much for being with us. We'll let you get back to your team. Let's go ahead and take a break here on Countdown to Kickoff. But when we come back, we're swapping out that chair for owner and general manager Jerry Jones. We'll see what he has to say about that Trey Lance trade and the last preseason game. Segment brought to you by Dr. Pepper, an official soft drink of the Dallas Cowboys, the one fans deserve. Back here down on the field, Haley Sutton, Mickey Spagnola, and we are so excited to be once again joined by owner and general manager Jerry Jones. Jerry, the final preseason game of 2023. We blinked and here it is.
Well, it is, and got to get used to just having 3 of them. And, of course, that's the new system that we have with our 9-game and home games and 8 games if we have the 2 preseason games. As well. So it's excited being here, and we've gotten a lot of work done by having the time we had in Oxnard, and I think it's going to really pay off for us. Maybe some of these guys, these young guys, will benefit out here tonight and earn a roster spot.
So, Jerry, I pull into the parking lot, and the parking attendant goes, okay, what's up with that trade? I come through the security, and the security guard goes, now, why did the Cowboys trade for Trey Lance? And I said, At 6:10, you pay attention because I'm going to ask Jerry. So you got the floor to explain why the trade for Trey Lance at this point of the year.
Well, we have a goal, a philosophy, that if we could draft as high a young quarterback as we possibly could, that's reasonable. That we would always like to have that player or players on the roster developing them. Quarterbacks are a precious commodity in the NFL, to be trite. And, of course, we had Trey very high and certainly would have drafted him had been given the opportunity to draft him when he came through because that's what we should be. We should have in the wings a quarterback on the come. Now, that sounds good, but that's hard to do. When San Francisco called yesterday and expressed an interest in trading, we didn't need any more. I wanted to check on his health. But other than that, I didn't want him to hang up. And I basically said, let's get as good as we can get it without him hanging up or with an easier phone call, and let's make this trade.
So it sounded like a couple other teams were kind of interested. You were willing to give them a fourth-round draft choice. That's a pretty good young talent that hasn't been developed yet for just a fourth-round pick.
Well, he's a first-round pick that took San Francisco 3 first-round picks to get him. That's what they had to trade to get in that spot. Just let me say this. A fourth-round pick is like a fifth-round pick because that comes next year. You've got a full season before you have to use it. But that's not the point. The point is that when you look at our history with quarterbacks, we've had to have the opportunity come back. When I first bought the team, Troy Aikman was sitting there at number 1. Well, anybody in his right mind would have picked Troy Aikman at number 1. And, of course, we did, and we had the number 1 pick. Later, Tony Romo came up. How brilliant we were to basically agree to pay $15,000 with old Sean Payton standing on the table to get him as a free agent. Now, that's the way we got that outstanding quarterback. And then, of course, Dak Prescott comes through, and with our second pick in the 4th round, we decided maybe we'd get Dak Prescott there. So with that in mind, when that phone rang and we had a chance to pick up this type talent that frankly has had tutorship with that San Francisco group that I like, then I didn't want him to hang the phone up, and I immediately took the deal.
And let's get this straight. You mentioned it when you kind of talked to the media before the show that this signing or trade for Trey Lance has nothing to do with what your feelings are about Dak Prescott.
Well, of course not, other than we all realize that if we could, you'd back Dak Prescott up as well as you can in case he got hurt. And you also will say, well, how about Cooper Rush? Well, what if Cooper Rush gets hurt? Well, what about your other quarterback? What if he gets hurt? Well, that doesn't happen. It happened to San Francisco last year. They got all 3 of their quarterbacks hurt, and they had one that they were bringing out of the free off the field. I mean, not on the field or in the league, active in the league. So it can happen to you. You can't have enough quarterbacks. But more importantly, let's be real clear about this. This was an opportunity that because we were there, we had the call, and we didn't mess around. We took it. Now, we'll see how it works out. But this is well worth any risk that we're taking here and does do what we need to be doing, and that's have that position backed up and fortified with youth on the come, if you can do it.
Last question, Jerry, before we let you go. You obviously had an opportunity to catch up with an old friend in Al Davis recently. Just what was that like, just getting to see him again and being with him?
With Mark Davis. Mark Davis.
Yeah,
Mark Davis,
and your
yes.
history.
And your history with
Oh,
Al
I'm
Davis.
sorry.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Course,
I could have asked that better.
Mark
I'm
Davis.
sorry.
No. Of course, Al was a great mentor of mine.
Yes.
And really gave me a big-time education about life in the NFL early and really influenced me about some of the things that we have had happen. And by the way, he called me one day and he said, Jerry, I've got a player. Y'all need him. And he said, but you need to tell me you're going to take him, a little bit like we're talking about right here. name is Glover. I think he's a nose guy that'll fit you. And so we picked him, and all he did was make All-Pro for about 4 or 5 years around here. So Al was always working real hard to try and really help the Cowboys be successful. Of course, the Raiders were where he really wanted everybody to be successful. But he and John Madden called me after our first year. We won 1 football game. And they called and said, we just wanted you to know you're doing it right. It's going to get better for you. Don't get discouraged. Both of them were on the phone. I said, guys, thank you for calling. You're sweet. But I burned those ships. I can't go home. So I'm not going to go home. I can't. But thank you so much for calling.
There you have it, another one of Jerry's fantastic stories. Jerry, obviously a lot of decisions to be made for you over the next couple of days, so I don't envy you, but I thank you for sitting in with us on Countdown to Kickoff. Let's go ahead and take another break here. That segment, of course, was brought to you by Dr. Pepper. When we come back, we've got former offensive lineman Nate Newton sitting with us to talk about that offensive line.
Coach here has always been a bacon and cheese Whataburger add jalapenos guy. Until now, because he just met Whataburger's Southern Bacon Double. Fresh beef patties, Monterey Jack and American cheese topped with crispy bacon, crunchy slaw, and a tangy Southern-style sauce. That's what we call an edible audible. Good call, Coach. The limited-time Southern Bacon Double from Whataburger. Just like you like it.
Tom Thumb and Albertsons present Tablet Deck, Game Day Party Quarterback.
Avocado. Wait. Go Cowboys!
Welcome back to Countdown to Kickoff. We've got Tom Brady in the house here at AT&T Stadium. He's, of course, a minority owner of the Raiders, also a minority owner of the Las Vegas Aces. So shout out to the GOAT being here. This segment brought to you by Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's. Nothing like a little Tom Brady to kick off our third segment here. But even more exciting, we've got former Cowboys offensive lineman Nate Newton joining us for the show. Nate, you were at training camp. You were watching that offensive line. Last opportunity for some of these guys to push to make the roster. What have you seen out of them so far?
I've seen Austin Richards, a young draft pick, number 76, do a great job. He's gotten better and better each week. T.J. Bass started out slow, but he's a guard from Oregon. Great technician. I mean, these two guys have grown. Matt Farniak, we've decided coaches decided he's a center only. So I'm wondering, will they go with the young guys like that? Two guards, which one is the center, and Matt Farniak, and then your guy at left tackle with Austin. So it's going to be a hard call for these coaches.
So Nate noticed this week when they were giving Zach Martin and Tyron Smith a break, not having to take all the first team reps. Awesome Richards, the guy you just talked about, stepped in and got first team snaps at left tackle, and T.J. Bass got some first team reps at right guard. Your thoughts on both of those guys?
I think T.J. Bass is a super technician. He's from Oregon, and they got great offensive line coach that teach great skills. My man Austin is just physical. He's got nice feet. He's playing that left tackle, and like I said, he's gotten better and better each game. And if he can just work on his hands, I heard him say this, and to be self-aware of what you need to work on is a great thing. So now he works on his hands, he keeps his feet right, and he stays with that mental toughness, you know, because out there, when you dance with the ballerinas, the prima donnas, you have to be mentally tough. And if they just keep doing that, they may force coach them to go with a younger group of guys instead of Josh Ball and maybe a Lawasco. Pronounce that for me.
Let's go.
Well, let's go. They said it. Yes, sir.
Let's talk about Matt Walesko, because he's obviously dealing with a shoulder injury at subluxation last week on the opposite shoulder. He just had surgery on as the guys come out behind us. But do you feel like this is a make-or-break season for a guy like Matt Walesko, or do you think he still has a little bit of a buffer?
You have to give him opportunity. I mean, if injuries keep coming up, then you make your move. But if you feel, besides those injuries, that this kid has improved from last year, you got to give him another chance. Now, I don't know if he make the active roster, but it still be somewhere that we can fit this guy in to give him a real chance to see if he's a backup, a swing tackle, or whatever.
Now, Nate, I know you're a proponent of staying with the young guys, but these guys that are the backups right now are really young. Is there any thought that you say, okay, I got to look at the wire and maybe get me a veteran in here or two?
You always look at the wire, man, and I don't question the moves the Cowboys made, but they pulled a quarterback in here with a 4th-round pick. So if you can spend a 4th-round pick on a quarterback to get a lineman for Dak to help him if something happened to this offensive line, we can spend a 3rd. Come on, man, somebody out there.
Nate, I want to ask you about the running game, because obviously the offensive line, a big part in opening up spaces for these running backs to get through. How have you seen this offensive line help the running game, especially in this new West Coast style offense?
It's good. It's all about timing. And until we see Tony in there, we won't know. Right now, we got to finish the scrimmage. You know what I mean? Everybody call it preseason. We got to finish the scrimmage, then we'll go into the preseason next 4 games, and they'll find out who the guys is once Tony get there, because he makes a world of difference.
All right, well, there you have it, the offensive line conversation from the offensive lineman himself, Nate Newton. Thanks so much for being with us. Let's go ahead and take another break here on Countdown to Kickoff. When we come back, we've got Nick Eatman sitting in. We're going to talk about the linebacker position. Who's going to fill in for DeMarvion Overshown?
I found it! Is it gold? Even better. There's new Dr. Pepper strawberries and cream. It's delicious Dr. Pepper. Oh, the refreshing strawberry flavor. And a smooth, creamy finish. Don't tell a soul.
Nabby, that's one smooth, creamy finish. That's an ice-cold blessing.
I told you we'd find Dr. Pepper in them deals. Try new Dr. Pepper strawberries and cream.
America, come along with our adventure seekers, the Sanchez family, and discover summer with the Ford F-150. See how available features like Pro Trailer Backup Assist make backing up as easy as turning a knob. Watch as Pro Power on board lights up the night. And Ford Blue Cruise makes driving even more fun. Get 3.9 financing for 60 months plus $1,750 bonus cash on F-150 or F-150 Lightning. See your best in Texas Ford dealer. Ford, the official vehicle of the Dallas Cowboys.
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like the High Five Strangers guy. Game-winning interception, first down, just a nice solid tackle. If you're in arm's length, you will be swapping skin with this extrovert. You see, he knows SeatGeek got him a great deal on tickets, so he can focus on what he does best, smacking palms. SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
It's big, it's good, and it's only for Cowboys fans. It's the Cowboys Special from the Cowboys and Papa John's. Get a large one-topping pizza for only $9.99. That's right, Cowboys fans. Get a large one-topping pizza for only $9.99 every day of the week. It's America's team. It's America's pizza. It's the Cowboys Special. Order today, in person, on the phone, or online. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, the official pizza of the Dallas Cowboys.
Interesting piece. Let me bring in my expert.
So many scratches.
Those are from my car keys.
Such a rich history. This won't do well at auction. But at AT&T, it's worth a brand new Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 5.
Wait, really? What about this?
AT&T's deal is back. Wow. Everyone gets a free new Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 5 with a Galaxy phone trade-in. Any year, any condition.
Just about 41 minutes until kickoff here at AT&T Stadium between the Dallas Cowboys and the Las Vegas Raiders. Welcome back to Countdown to Kickoff. This segment brought to you by Ashley Home Store, the official furniture store of the Dallas Cowboys. Well, last week we unfortunately saw DeMarvion Overshown go down in the game against Seattle. He tore his ACL, which means he'll be out for the season. But just because he won't be playing football this year doesn't mean he doesn't have a role with this organization. We caught up with him earlier in the week about his attitude and how he's feeling going forward.
I'm still blessed to be here. You know, I'm going to be around just as much as I was if I was playing on the field. I'm definitely going to bring that same energy that I was bringing to the sideline, keep it throughout the locker room. And you know, now I got a different role on the team, and that's bringing the juice. So I'm going to do that. You know, training camp 1, I felt like it went good, you know. But like I said, I get to look at it as something that I get to build off of now. You know, having this time to, you know, take care of my body and get right and really learn the game. So I definitely felt like I went out there and done what I wanted to do. But it's still a lot more that I know that I'm capable of, and I can't wait to show you guys.
Is this the one you're going to get the surgery yet?
Not yet. But when that time comes soon, it's coming.
You got this Friday on McCarthy to the locker room. Did that hit you that this might be a little more serious?
No, it didn't. I thought they were just giving me a free ride to the locker room. They didn't want me to walk. So, you know, I thought I was going to come back out just jogging, you know, having one of those moments. But, you know, I didn't get the news I wanted. But like I say, you know, I'm blessed. I'm highly favored. I'm still able to rock this star everywhere I go. And like I said, I'm looking forward to next year.
Talk about being a rookie. You don't even know that when the cart comes out that they're just giving you a free ride to the locker room. As we welcome in Nick Eatman from DallasCowboys.com. But Nick, honestly, when you talk to DeMarvion, you wouldn't even guess that he tore his ACL. This is sometimes a career-ending injury for guys. And his attitude, I just talked to him on the bench, and he's feeling good, feeling favored like you talked about.
Yeah, it's so bittersweet to be able to hear that, because on one side it's so refreshing. Look at the optimism. You know, he's talking about his role for the team. What a team aspect he's got. And then because he's so fun to talk to, you hate it for him because you want to see him out there. Because anybody that has that kind of attitude also means they're going to be great for the team, great for the locker room. So, you know, he's just one of those guys, Mick, that like you feel bad for, but you still are so excited because everything he said sounded so genuine.
Yeah, he is a upstanding guy, and he was going to help this team out greatly. As a matter of fact, when you talk about the linebacker spot, but he was going to be a core special teams player. And the other day I passed John Fossil, the Cowboys special teams coach, and I said, boy, that's heartbreaking. He goes, I'm still sick to my stomach, because he was going to be on every special team that John Fossil had.
And not only was he going to be on it, but that was the first thing he said when he got drafted. Like the first week they were there for the rookie minicamp, he was like, I'm going to be on all the special teams. And that's not something you hear a lot of college players say, because they were so great in college, they really didn't play a lot. Oh, okay, yeah, I understand now that that's what they're telling me. He walked in the door with that mentality. So that, you know, that's just what makes it even more frustrating. But you know what? If he's going to be a great guy in the sideline, you know, bringing the juice, this team could use that too.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, though, with him not playing, there's a need for that position to be filled. There's several guys on the roster that I think, you know, are making a push to fill that role. Who would you say needs to step up today?
Stepping up today, you know, you'd like to see some of those safeties. I want to see, you know, if Juan Thomas is going to get a lot of action, or Marquise Bell. You know, you never know how much they're going to play some of these guys. But, you know, Jaron Kearse, not going to play today, obviously, but Jaron Kearse is a guy that I think is going to play that position, and that will just be a trickle-down effect for the rest of the safeties. They're very deep there. So I think they're going to be fine at the position, maybe add a linebacker or so after the cuts. But for the most part, I think that the guys that can fill that role are still on the roster.
And I think we should emphasize what Nick said about adding a linebacker, because if you look at the linebackers, true linebackers, the depth is not real deep.
Are you not calling Micah Parsons a true linebacker? I'm
well,
kidding.
He's my guy that if I need to, I put Parsons there. But if you look at the starters, Van Der Esch and Damone Clark, after that, if it's not Parsons.
Right. I do think Micah Parsons is going to play a little bit more linebacker than we think, only because we've seen Leighton rush the edge a little bit. There's going to be times where Micah they'll just switch. Because quarterbacks are going to go to the line of scrimmage going, where's 11? Where's 11? And sometimes he's going to be back, sometimes it's going to be Leighton. But I think for the most part it's going to be rushing the passer.
All right, well, there you have it. Nick, thanks so much for sitting with us. Bummer that we don't get Demo, but a good opportunity for some of those other guys. Going to take another break here on Countdown to Kickoff. When we come back, we're going to chat with Kyle Yeomans. He's normally in the booth, but he's down here on the field with us. That segment, of course, is brought to you by Ashley Furniture Home Store, the official furniture store of the Dallas Cowboys.
Corner booths, sticky floors, catching rides, and second winds. You never forget the way some things taste. Great taste, 96 calories. Tastes like Miller time.
Follow your vibe. Busy. Flavor for every vibe.
Get a shake with your points and some fries on the side with your points. You get more with every order. Get a Whataburger or a patty melt or some breakfast with the point. You get more with every order. Get a biscuit or a brownie, but no matter what you pick, you get more. Like your favorite Whataburger or whatever, 'cause it all gives you more with Whataburger rewards. We could walk forever, walking on the moon. Some may say I wish you were days away. No way, walking on the moon.
Tom Thumb and Albertsons present Tablet Deck, Game Day Party Quarterback.
Avocado. Wait, hold up. Dak Prescott? Why make your own guac when Tom Thumb and Albertsons does it for you? That's a taste touchdown. Man, that is fresh. Dak, incoming. Come on, man. You got onion in my eye.
Download the Tom Thumb or Albertsons app for additional savings on game day chips, dips, and party sips.
34 minutes and counting down to kickoff here on Countdown to Kickoff. This segment brought to you by Reliant and NRG Company. Haley Sutton and Mickey Spagnola down here field side, and we are excited to welcome in Kyle Yeomans. He's normally hosting. In fact, earlier today he was in the booth for the Jerry Jones Classic, and now he's here with us to talk about some of these draft picks here on Countdown to Kickoff. And Kyle, I want to start with Mazi Smith, because the expectations of a first-round draft pick are always very high, especially when you look at the run defense last year and why he was brought in. How would you evaluate him so far?
Well, I think there's still room to grow for a first-year player, but you want him to look more like a first-round player, and that's really the case for Mazi Smith. Against Seattle, it looked like he had a favorable matchup. He was going up against a former college teammate in Olu Oluwatimi and really didn't have the best game. He did face the starters as well in that front offensive line for Seattle. Evan Brown got after him. He kept getting turned. If he can stay vertical, stay with his chest squared to the line of scrimmage, I think he'll have a lot more success. I believe in this coaching staff. Dan Quinn, Adam Dirty have done a great job with some defensive linemen, especially with the skill set that Mazi Smith has. I think he'll be just fine, but still room to grow, and he's still just 2 games into his rookie season. I think he'll be all right.
Second-round pick, Schoonmaker, tight end. The Cowboys wanted to fortify that tight end position, used the second-round pick on him, kind of a late start in training camp, but he seems to be picking it up these last couple of weeks.
Well, and I think a big part of that is he's just really able to do more coming off of the plantar fasciitis. He was very limited in training camp, got minimal reps, and now he's gotten to work in a couple different times in terms of this offense. He's learning the playbook. He's getting to run and have a bit of a rapport with his quarterbacks, both Cooper Rush and then Will Grier, who, of course, is going to play throughout tonight. But I think you're going to see more Luke Schoonmaker in this matchup than you have in the first two, maybe combined. I think they're going to try and get him a little bit of to run. In talking with Coach Linda Wells earlier in the week, he's excited to see what he can do as a blocker because he hasn't been able to be physical because of the injury. I want to see what he can do in the run game and trying to pave the way for these tailbacks.
Does this make you feel better about the tight end position after Dalton Schultz decided he wanted out?
It does. I think you invest in it by going into day 2 and saying we want to come out of here with a capable tight end. Luke Schoonmaker is a capable tight end, and he's well balanced as well. And I think it adds a complement to the room of a guy like Peyton Hendershot, who can go over the top and take the top off of the defense. And then you got Jake Ferguson, who's also very versatile and has a well-rounded skill set as well. Schoonmaker fits in with that group, and I think he adds an element. Even with John Stevens going down last week, I think having a Luke Schoonmaker in the fold certainly helps things in that tight end room.
And there you see on your screen the tight end room that Linda Wells will be in charge of this season. Obviously, some of these guys won't make it that far, obviously, but as we move along with our draft picks, Viliami Fehoko, a guy who we really haven't had a chance to talk a ton about because he hasn't been available. He had that shoulder injury at training camp, but obviously the rest of the defensive line is excited for him to get into the fold.
Yeah, I think this is going to be much like Luke Schoonmaker. This is going to be the Junior Fehoko show here in week 3, and he's going to do it inside and outside. He's going to move to that 3 technique. He's going to play a little bit of edge rusher and then move him in between at the 5 technique as well. I think we'll see more Junior Fehoko tonight. Last week was really a ramp-up period. Didn't play in preseason week number 1. I'm excited to see it because he was ultra productive at San Jose State. He continued to get in the backfield. He led the conference in pressures. I think he can do something very similar in the preseason and then try and find a rotational role on this Dan Quinn defense.
Traded for the first pick in the 6th round, Eric Scott Jr.
I like him as well.
Can he make it?
I think
there's room for...
Get 3.9 financing for 60 months plus $1,750 bonus cash on F-150 or F-150 Lightning. See your best in Texas Ford dealer. Ford, the official vehicle of the Dallas Cowboys.
27 minutes until the final preseason game for the Dallas Cowboys kicks off here at AT&T Stadium. This segment brought to you by Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's. Back here on the field, Haley Sutton and Mickey Spagnola. Mickey, like I mentioned, a last opportunity for some of these guys to make a push for the 53-man roster here in Dallas. Some players to watch. Let's start on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we've been talking about the injury to DeMarvion Overshown, and one of the guys the Cowboys kind of look at trying to put in that spot is Marquise Bell. He made the team last year as a rookie free agent, basically as a special teams player, got a few snaps. Well, the next morning after the Overshown injury, he gets a call from Dan Quinn, the defensive coordinator, and he said, hey, Marquise, we know you're a safety. You've taken some snaps at linebacker. Get ready for more snaps at linebacker, so keep an eye on number 41. Number 23, Rico Dowdle. It looks like he has Jabril Cox. Yeah,
we'll talk
good.
about Rico in a minute. Let's talk about Jabril Cox, though, because this is definitely a guy who's going to want to be in the fold.
Another guy at that same spot to maybe replace Overshown, Jabril Cox. He didn't get to play much last year. He's got to perform on special teams, and they're going to take a look at him there at the linebacker spot also.
A guy that Jabril Cox will have to tackle at practice is Rico Dowdle, and that's where we go next, Mick. To the other side of the ball, the offense starting to pick up speed under this new West Coast offense. Rico Dowdle feels like running back 2 at this point.
Yeah, jumped the gun on Rico, and we'll see if he plays much tonight. I think he solidified that number 2 spot at the running back position behind Tony Pollard, but the guy you're going to see a lot of tonight, number 43, Hunter Lipke, rookie free agent. He was a fullback in college, kind of a one-back type guy. They're going to wear him out tonight. So, you know, what he's looking for, can he squeeze onto the 53, but for sure at the fullback position.
Hunter Lipke was called the Majestic Beast at North Dakota State, so excited to see him get into the fold. Mickey, we've got some time here. Let's talk more about Hunter Lipke at the fullback position. Oh, just kidding. We're actually going to move forward and talk about Simi Fehoko. We're all over the place in this American Airlines segment of our players to watch. Simi Fehoko, another guy who's on the bubble. What can he do tonight to be impressive for Mike McCarthy?
Yeah, number 1, obviously make some catches, make some plays. This is his 3rd year. When you get to that 3rd year, you got to flash. The other thing he's got to do is show up on special teams. Because if you're going to be the 5th or 6th wide receiver, you got to be productive on special teams if you're going to be active on the 48-man roster. So keep an eye on him. He should get a lot of playing time tonight.
And then another guy on the defense. Quickly, we'll talk about Quinton Bohanna. This is a guy who's really been trying to stay on this team. It's kind of his job to lose at this point is how it feels.
Yeah, I think, it's getting really crowded at that defensive tackle spot, especially after they draft Mozzie Smith. They had moved Chauncey Golston from defensive end into tackle. Jonathan Hankins is there. So to me, between Bo there and Neville Gallimore, maybe there's only one spot for either of them. So big night for Quinton Bohanna.
All right, that's your American Airlines players to watch in tonight's game. I'm glad we were able to get through that with all of our players that we're watching. We'll go ahead and take another break here on Countdown to Kickoff. That segment was brought to you by Papa John's. When we come back, we've got training camp sounds with everybody's favorite running back, Deuce Vaughn.
Experience the sanctuary of hands-free highway driving with Lincoln Blue Cruise. The Lincoln Summer Invitation, on now.
Tom Thumb and Albertsons present Tablet Deck, Game Day Party Quarterback.
Avocados. Wait, hold up. Dak Prescott? Why make your own guac when Tom Thumb and Albertsons does it for you? That's a taste touchdown.
Man, that is fresh. Dak, incoming.
Come on, man. You got onion in my eye.
Download the Tom Thumb or Albertsons app for additional savings on game day chips, dips, and party zips.
Corner booths, sticky floors, catching breaks, and second wins. You never forget the way some things taste. Great taste, 96 calories. Tastes like Miller time. Frozen faces, burnt hot dogs, finding silver linings in every season. You never forget the way some things taste. Great taste, 96 calories. Tastes like Miller time.
Back here on Countdown to Kickoff, this segment brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. We've got about 20 minutes until kickoff between the Dallas Cowboys and the Las Vegas Raiders here at AT&T Stadium. But we're going to take you back to training camp with America's favorite running back. We got Deuce Vaughn mic'd up for this week's edition of Training Camp Sounds.
I'm the fast today. I'm the fast today. They got me mic'd up. I'm the fast today, bro. The fast. Oh, today. You the fast. Ah! Ricky duties. TP, I got you, brother. All right, now. I love it. You gonna go high? You gonna go high? You gonna jump for that one? Come low, bam. It's kind of up. We don't review that one. Damn, somebody took my towel? Damn. Damn. Let me grab your towel. Appreciate it. Yeah, right? You got the shoot. You got the shoot right here. You got it. Yeah. That was not fun. Bro, 6 times in a row.
9 plays in a row. Nice job.
If the mic can hear me, send an ambulance in about 30 minutes. Make it 15.
I need to know what the ambulance is for. Did we call the ambulance? Is Deuce okay?
I think he had so many plays, it's like, okay, I need a ride off
Tired,
the field.
right? But in all reality, he's been electric for this team. I think we expected it, but it's so good to see America really rally around Deuce Vaughn.
And it went from a cute story to a good football story, because I got a feeling, I don't know if he's going to get snaps tonight, which means he's going to make the team. I don't think there's any doubt about that. They will carve out a role for him.
And it feels like right now that Brandon Aubrey will also make the team. He's still the only kicker on the roster. We haven't had a chance to really see him tested too much in games, so maybe we see that tonight.
Well, I'm watching him in warm-ups, and he was kicking off the little kicking holder deal. He hit from 59 yards with no problem whatsoever. And then when they were doing the snap, hold, and kick, he hit from 56. I just want to point one thing out. In the 3rd round, San Francisco drafted Jake Moody, 3rd round, right? He had 2 misses last night. Now, one was from 59, I get it, but one from 40. And basically they're saying, we got to be patient with a young kicker. I think the Cowboys want to be patient with Brandon Aubrey. They feel like this kid has talent. He just needs to show that he has the composure and consistency to kick in the National Football League. But talent is not a problem with this, by the way, former soccer player.
Yes, he is a former soccer player. I think he was drafted into the MLS as well. We bond over our love of soccer as well. And something about Brandon Aubrey that most people don't notice is that during these games, he's wearing 2 different shoes. So his left foot is his plant foot, that's his football cleat, and his right cleat is a soccer cleat because that's what he feels most comfortable kicking with.
So that's his plant foot, right?
Yep.
And the other thing is, these last 2 weeks, he has been really on point in practice, rarely missing, and they've got the operation down. They were slow, then they were too fast, and now I think they've settled in with basically a new snapper, the same holder, but a new kicker.
A lot of moving and shaking,
yes.
And it'll only get different as that cut down for the 53-man roster comes up next week. That'll do it for us here down on the field on Countdown to Kickoff. For Mickey Spagnola, I'm Haley Sutton. We're going to send things to break before giving it to the booth with Bill Jones and Isaiah Stanback. You're watching Countdown to Kickoff here on CBS 11.
Have fun, sis.
Can't stop adding stuff to your cart? Get the Bank of America customized cash rewards card. Choose the online shopping category and earn 3% cash back.
Dad, we're gonna be late.
Can't stop adding stuff to your cart? Get the Bank of America customized cash rewards